Welcome to Trauma Recovery Anonymous. My name is Richard and I am your host and presenter for this series. This presentation is for any veterans out there who suffer with PTSD. I've only ever worked with one veteran. It was a Vietnam veteran, and the results were quite startling, and I want to share this, not his experience, but the process with you to understand how this works. We exist in these 24 hours right here and right now. I'm not the same person I was yesterday as I am today, because today I'm presenting this presentation to you. Yesterday I was thinking about it, planning it, worried about how I would do it, and today I'm doing it. So two different people having the same experience, one before and one after. Well, that's what makes us different. In the same way I can't be the same person I was last week, last month, a year, a decade ago, or back in my childhood when I suffered my trauma memory. I live here in the present. I'm 62 years of age, and that younger version of mine was 12, not the same person. If you take a photograph of yourself who enlisted in the army, in the armed forces, to go off and fight for God and country, for the world, whatever that fight was, they enlisted to go off and fight in a fight. Take a picture of that 18-year-old man and woman who made that decision. Take a picture of yourself today, put it alongside one another. You'll clearly see you're not the same person. One is a young 18-year-old man or woman, maybe living at home with their parents. All their siblings are around them in their family home. And then maybe you today, your parents, maybe one or more, maybe lost you already. Maybe some of your siblings may have moved on. You may have moved home, you may have moved state, you may have moved country. And as you start putting in details about that 18-year-old younger version of you and the person you are today, you'll clearly see you're not the same person. That 18-year-old version of you went off to war and suffered the horrors of war. They suffered the trauma memory event. You carried that memory for them. And if you're like me and you did something like regression therapy, would have taught you to step back into that war zone where that younger version was, and to draw them out and keep them safe and give them a safe place to be, as I did with my inner child. But the truth is, our younger self never wanted us to fight our battles for us or carry their pain for them. They never asked us to come back in and pull them out. They managed it fine. They suffered, endured, and survived that trauma memory, so you'll be free today of it. That war horror they suffered is what they suffered, not what you suffered. You carry the memory of what they suffered, and you carry sympathy pains for what they suffered. But again, they never asked you to carry these pains for them. They're stuck in a state of limbo, unable to cross over into the light, into heaven, into a place of perfect peace, until they have all their baggage. And by you bringing their baggage into the present, you block them from crossing over, and you cause death and decay from the past eating away at your present. This PTSD you suffer, it eats away at your soul. No one can see how it's eating away at you. They can see manifestations of it. Maybe you're not sleeping, maybe you have problems with your sound, or with noises, loud noises, maybe you get angry very easily. These are all the manifestations of the past. But they can't see the way it's eating away at your souls inside. And you can't heal that. There's no way of healing the pain of another person. No matter how much you care for that younger version of you, you can't heal their pain. And they never wanted you to heal their pain. They managed to suffer, endure, and survive that trauma memory, so you'll be free of it today. And they're waiting to give it back to them. They can handle it, and they've got a whole host of God's angels to help them carry it into the light. When they step into the light, God will take the baggage from them, and they'll be free of it. They'll be safe. You have an obligation to let them go, to let them step into the light, into the mansion prepared for them in our Father's mansion, to meet their ancestors, all their relations, all their old buddies that they lost also, to meet up with them too. Your journey is to live in these present 24 hours today, with your husbands, wives, parents, siblings, friends, colleagues, workers, community, whatever that is, your life is today. There are 8 billion people in the world today, and you don't need to look after the rest of the world. Let them look after world politics, wokeism, everything else that's going on, the state of the nation, the state of the environment, the state of the ecosystem. Your job solely is to live in these 24 hours. And you do this by doing this healing event and giving the past back to its younger self. You will find a release in your body mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. You'll feel the weight coming off your shoulders, like the weight of the world lifted from your shoulders. All that stress will be gone. This healing event takes about 25 minutes. The lead up is the reasons why, like this, I explain to you why you must let it go. And then after the healing event is gone and you know the trauma memory has gone, it's left your psyche. You still have the memory side, but you've given the details back. If someone were to ask you about what happened in the past, you couldn't own it, you couldn't suffer it because the details are gone. It's like a memory, like in your memory bank. One of those many memories you have, it's just gone. It's no longer, you have the memory, you can talk about it, but not about as it happened to you, because it didn't happen to you. And in this moment you realize that the PTSD or the CPSD you have is a learned behavior that you learned when you try to carry their pain in your present. And because their pain is gone, now you realize there's no reason to have PTSD in your life. And like the learned behavior, science tells us it takes up to 66 days to get rid of a past behavior, a bad habit. And this is what it is. It's a learned bad habit. And so if you maybe to practice twice a day to get rid of this bad habit, well then it might take 33 days. And if you did it 3 times a day, it might take 22 days. And if you did it 5 times a day, it could take you 10 days to get rid of this learned bad habit of depression and PTSD. The past didn't happen to you or I. We have to give it back to our rightful owner. And you giving the past back to that younger version of you who went off to war allows you the freedom to live your life today in these 24 hours. This is where your life exists now. You're not in a war 20 years ago or 30 years ago or 40 years ago. You're here in life today with your family around you, your friends around you, to be a part of life. I believe that you were created for a purpose. I believe anyone who has the courage and the conviction to sign up to fight for world peace, for whatever that is you went off to war to fight for, that shows a great strength in you. And that strength is still there. I don't believe you're mentally ill or have a mental disorder. I don't understand how someone who suffers an event, who's the victim of an event, can suddenly be decided to be mentally ill or have a mental disorder. I think you've never lost your strength. I believe the person or persons or situation that caused you this trauma, they're the ones who are clinically insane. They're the ones who have a mental illness or mental disorder. But I believe underneath all of this, when you've given this past back to your younger self, suddenly you come back into your fore and you're full and strong and you're able to carry and help other people and carry this message to other people. Maybe through this event you decide you're going to practice this event yourself and teach it to others in your support groups, your veteran groups, or go back into the army, maybe back into the Navy, the armed forces, and be of service in there and help other enlisted men to understand this. You have a great power and ability to exert that power, but it has to be in the present, and it has to be you doing it in this present with your power. You must let go of your past with their power so you can be free to be all powerful today. My name is Richard Tierney. There are 4 treatments coming up next week. On Tuesday, 9 AM and 2 PM, and Thursday, 9 AM and 2 PM, and the Irish time. So it's 9 AM Irish time and 2 PM Irish time, both Tuesday and Thursday, 20th and 22nd of February. The cost of placements are €60 per person. The event is 3 hours long. It's held on Zoom. Cameras and microphones are muted so that your anonymity is protected. I will lead you through the healing event, and at the end of the healing event, you will have experienced the release of the past. And then I introduce you to the 12-step program where you undo the damage caused by this diagnosis of PTSD, depression, whatever it is you've been diagnosed with. You can break it up and release it. I hope this helps you to see that there is a light at the end of the tunnel and it's not an oncoming train. Thank you. Oh, and please too, share this with your buddies, with your friends, family, colleagues. Try and help as many people as possible. Thank you very much.